Yay, welcome back to our channel. Girl chat. Ivy, how are you today?
Good. I am feeling good. I'm feeling a little jittery. I dyed my hair, so I feel kind of fabulous and it's kind of
Amazing.
looking good today. So that makes me happy. A little nervous because I have a music video coming up. I'm going to be shooting
Oh,
this weekend and I'm a little bit nervous about it because that's just me. everything, everything gives me anxiety.
I totally get it. I totally get it. And your
How's,
hair does look amazing.
thank you. How is your morning going?
My morning's pretty good. It's so funny. I actually had a photo shoot last night. So I knocked out like almost midnight and I woke up like at 6 something and I'm like, that was
Oh
not
my
enough
gosh.
hours. I was supposed to be sleeping a lot longer, so I feel a little tired, but I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Like
For
it's
sure.
a gorgeous day out. It's not gloomy.
You have no kids. You're gonna have that energy to just have an awesome Friday.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. You're right. So we are gonna touch on, oh shoot, we're gonna touch on too much coffee I had this morning. Mr. Aidan and Mr.
Right,
Big.
right, right. So
Finally, Ivy's finished. She's gotten to that part of where
I've gotten
Aidan
to that part.
reveals
I'm not
himself.
quite finished yet, but I've gotten to that part.
She's gotten to that part where I was like waiting. I'm just like, I feel like this chick, she will change her mind when she sees Aidan.
Yeah, I did right away.
Did you?
Yeah, because it's unacceptable. So for everybody watching, we're going to talk about why women choose the wrong guys, right?
Mm.
We're going to talk about why some women choose the wrong guys or the bad boys.
Ugh, I
And
hate that term.
we're also still on the topic of Sex and the City.
Yes.
And it goes perfectly because I've just witnessed the affair that Carrie had with Big. And it's
Mm.
unacceptable. It's like, how dare you? You have this perfect guy. He's so in love with her. And it just totally broke my heart when she confessed to him that she was cheating on him or that she cheated on him. Um, yeah, like she had it all with him. And
She did.
she that was all she had been bitching about,
That's
right?
all she,
Like,
yeah, she wanted somebody who wanted her back. But if I could just say, like, bring something up, she wanted to jump into the sack with Aidan very quickly
I
and he didn't
remember.
want to.
Yeah.
And this whole scene is like, I love. She was like, why doesn't he want to sleep with me? Like, what's going on? And sometimes I feel like that's typically how a guy thinks. I would think. I feel like that's just been like more like my experience. Like a guy's like, why don't you want to sleep with me? Like, what's wrong with me? Like, is she just not that sexual of a person? Because I've been asked that a few times, like, are you just not that sexual? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't even know you that well. We've only been
Right.
hanging out a few months. Doesn't mean I want it. Like, come on. So I felt like it was really interesting that she was like, why doesn't he want to sleep with me? Are we just friends? Am I a girlfriend? Like, what's going on? And she was asking like Miranda, Samantha, and all of them. And then he ends up staying the night. No, he was still at her house, and then he draws her a bath,
I
and he was
remember.
like, enjoy your bath. I'm gonna leave you to it.
Well, I
And
think
then,
he just knew he was falling for her and he wanted her to be the one.
yeah, but I just feel like she was so like, oh my gosh, like romance. Like, what was the name of that episode? Are we sluts? Like,
Are we sluts? Oh my God, that was a good one. Yeah.
and I feel like isn't that kind of like, I mean, I like that. I want romance. Like, I want you to draw me a bath, put candles, lavender, chocolate, Chanel shoes, I'm just kidding. No, but like, just thought it was really interesting that she was just so eager to have sex with him, and then but she was kind of missing out on like
The romance part.
the treatment of
Yeah.
like how a girl should be treated. Like he's trying to treat you as a lady. I'm not saying that like I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Perhaps the timing was wrong. Like,
What do you mean?
did she meet him like right after Big got married, right? Like
He had already gotten married at this point.
married, like how long though? Like how long have they been broken up before she met Aiden? That's my question.
Um
Because what if she met him and she met him too soon? Like she was still thinking about Big, like, and she didn't have the capacity to like be in a relationship because she was maybe she was on the rebound. So that's why I'm asking how much time actually went by
mhm.
between, Big getting married and her meeting Aiden. Because maybe she was just on the rebound, like maybe she needed more time to date. That's why she couldn't appreciate him.
I mean, that makes sense. Then I just think she probably should have like she should have found somebody who was aligned with what she wanted. I think it's very easy to find a guy to who if you're like, hey, this is the kind of relationship I want right now. If you want something casual with me, I'll be committed to just being casual with you. But just so you know, there is no future. Let's just have fun. Like I think it's really easy to find that. Again, that show is not that's not what the writers wanted to put because it was a little bit more juicier this way. So I just yeah, I and just the fact that like she was having an affair and showing up to like the hotel rooms with Big and I thought it was interesting that like Big was like, what, you don't want to I forgot what he said, something like, are you afraid that you're gonna smell bad for your boyfriend? And she was just like, don't even mention him. And she was like, do you want people to get hurt? And he was like, I don't care who sees us, like I don't care. But I'm thinking, why does she care? Why would she care if Aiden found out? She made it seem as though she cared about his feelings by saying, do you really want people to get hurt?
Yeah.
But
Well,
doesn't she have a conscience?
I
Like
think
doesn't like then why are you even doing the action that you're doing? Like how like in your head, where do you foresee this going?
like perhaps it's her own guilt of having an affair.
Yeah,
Yeah, like it's
I don't
her own
know.
guilt telling her like, "Oh no, people are going to say," or maybe like she's worried like, "Oh, people are going to be saying this or that," you know?
Yeah.
Like that
Uh
scene where she runs into Natasha. I think they're having breakfast somewhere and like Natasha walks in and they're like whispering about each other and stuff. I
oh
think
my
that's what she was dreading in reality. Like, don't we all?
I will say I'm not I will say I don't really like Carrie that much, but I do think she's way more attractive than Natasha.
Yeah.
I don't know why they even chose that character. I'm not trying to be mean. I just
Well, because remember, Natasha was supposed to be like the simple, non-dramatic, plain Jane, the easy woman to get married to,
you know what I just thought of?
because there's
Natasha is Mr. Big's Aiden.
perhaps, yeah, I think so. And I just can't stand it that she keeps going back to him when like he doesn't like why would she have an affair with him after he treated her like crap?
Yeah.
That's my thing. Like why? And I saw this meme on or this quote on Instagram the other day and it said um something along the lines of sometimes we get bored in a
Ah,
healthy relationship because we're so used to toxicity. And
mm,
I can totally see that. Like you're so used to being toxic and you're so used to being in a toxic relationship that when you're finally in a good one, healthy relationship, you're like, I'm bored. Like there's no drama here. Like I need there to be drama to be entertained. And I
because
feel like that's her.
yeah. No, that makes sense. And that makes sense for real life, especially if you were raised, not to get too like deep here, but especially if you come from like a childhood where you saw nothing but arguing or you saw nothing but an unhealthy marriage from your parents. So like that's just what you're starting to learn as a kid, and then you mimic it as an adult in your relationships. Like you're unable to just have a healthy relationship. It makes
Yeah.
sense. It makes sense.
It's funny you bring that up because when I was watching Sex and the City, I thought about that. I started thinking like, what kind of upbringing did Carrie have that she's such a freaking emotional mess? Like she's toxic.
She really is. She really is. And that's when like, to be honest, that's when some of these characters like they kind of bother me in the sense where I don't know. Could you be friends with Carrie?
Yeah, I could be friends. Mhm.
Even if she's telling you every single month, like if she's telling you, oh my God, like I'm gonna go hang out with Mr. Big, but like he's married, I'm
I
actually
mean,
dating somebody and
I'll
I'm having an affair.
I'll say it how it is. Like I'll give her my 2 cents and I don't know if she'll want to be my friend.
Mm.
It just like the girls, they were like, you know what, we've had it. Like, stop talking about him. You're obsessed. Like, we're tired of hearing you talk about Mr. Big. That's probably what I'm gonna be like. I'm gonna be like, look, get over it. Like, stop. What you're doing is not right. And her friends did tell her, they were like, this is not cool. Like, I think Miranda, when she finally told Miranda, Miranda was
That's
so upset.
right.
Charlotte, she ran into Charlotte and she saw them together,
Yeah.
right? She was upset, and
Samantha was the only one who didn't judge her. She was
but
like,
that's
not
Samantha,
my style.
but I guess she just didn't overreact to it. She was more like she was like, "Oh, oh,"
Yeah.
but she didn't judge her or anything.
I think the only one, it's just because I'm thinking like, I, I don't know. I feel like as women, we can put up a lot with like our girlfriends. Clearly, I have put up with like a lot with girls, but at the same time, like when I think about it, those are not the type of girlfriends that I would want to have again. So I just feel like Carrie brings so much toxicity that, you kind of like have to be careful with. I guess I'm just, after watching it, I just think like, I don't know if I could even have her in my life because
Yeah,
she's going to make it seem as though the bad things that I want to do are right. You know what I'm saying?
I get it. Yeah,
Like I am already as a single girl, like there's temptation everywhere. We all get tempted, but specific things as a single girl that like I would want to do, like I know, okay, like that goes against my morals. I really don't want to do that or whatnot. But she would make it seem as though like, oh no, it's okay,
yeah,
like
yeah. And I can even see her like being a really bad influence, like financially. Like she's always going broke
hmm,
because she's buying shoes she can't afford. And like she doesn't care. Like she knows she can't afford these shoes and she's like, "Oh, but who cares? I'm going to go ahead and buy me these shoes that I can't afford." And she says it more than once. Like I've heard it more than once.
okay, see there,
And
that
it's
I
only season 3 and I've like legit heard her saying like every season like she brings up the fact that she can't afford these shoes, but she buys them anyway.
she has an income problem.
I don't know. She has a spending problem, right?
She doesn't know how to save her money. She's like, she just, I will say this. I will say, well, no, I don't think it's fair to say that. I can't say that because Miranda is single with no kids. She clearly doesn't have that problem. I was going to
Mm-mm.
say sometimes as a single girl, we don't have big responsibilities. So it's easier for us to just spend our money. But at the same time, it's like, no, but like Miranda, she didn't come off as though she had a problem. She seemed like she had it together.
Yeah, she looks like
So
she has her stuff together. Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. I feel
Yeah.
like,
Miranda is the type of friend that I would want to have.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah, I
I
could
feel
like
like
she,
she's not as extreme as the other characters. I feel she's
right.
in between everybody,
So
I
then
feel.
did you get to the point? I mean, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but did you get to the point where she doesn't have any money, Carrie?
Carrie, no, I haven't gotten there. I guess I haven't then.
Okay, then never
Yeah.
mind. Never mind. We'll talk about
Mhm.
that later. But um yeah, I never even noticed that about
Yeah,
her
because
character that
there's an
she,
episode where she's just narrating and she said something like, well, I'm gonna buy myself these shoes even though I'm not gonna be able to afford rent or something like that. I don't remember verbatim, but she said something along the lines of, you know, possibly not being able to pay rent because she's buying a pair of like $400 shoes.
yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
it's her spending.
It's a lot. Yeah, she has a lot of things that like need to be worked out. Like she needs to hire a life coach.
Like, I don't think I'll be able to live that New York life. Like they're always talking about designer shoes, designer clothing, designer bags. Like, what the heck? I would not fit in.
Really? Yes, you would.
Yeah.
There's
I
another
mean,
air, there's another portion of New York that's very like indie,
you think
hipster. I feel like
so?
you would fit in there, I feel.
I'll fit in the artsy areas of New York. What would those places be? We would have to, I will have to look into it. But like
Greenwich
where,
Village.
but yeah, like they're always wearing designer stuff.
But that is, yeah, that's
It makes
the
me
show.
scared. It makes me scared. Everybody's going to judge me when I go to New York. Everybody's going to be looking at my outfit.
That's so not true. That's so not true. See, I would fit in. I don't have designer stuff, but I know how to come off as though I do.
Right, right. I totally get that. Yeah.
You know,
Um,
like,
I feel
so
like I was more I used to worry more about what my outfit would be like when I would live when I lived in LA and I worked in downtown LA. Like it used to take me longer to pick out my outfit because I would just I don't know, I guess I was worried like that I wouldn't quite fit in or not that I wouldn't fit in, but I wanted to, I guess. And ever since I moved out of the city, I'm just kind of like, man, I don't care what I wear. I feel comfortable in this.
really,
Yeah.
yeah, that I could see that. I could see that for sure. Um, yeah, I mean, I love the show for that reason that they're always like done up.
That's
Um,
I do it is motivational to me. Like, dang, like I
it
want to look cute like that every day. Like, even if I'm not going anywhere. Like
it
earlier
is.
this week, I got dressed up and dolled up and I was like, I'm not doing anything, but dang, I look good.
That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear. Um, there have been times in my life, excuse me, where I remind myself of what I'm after financially. So I'll throw on a Sex in the City movie, like one of their movies. Anything that has to do with like even the Devil Wears Prada. Sometimes I just have it playing in the background to remind myself like who I'm wanting to embody, like what I'm striving after financially. I mean, clearly, Sex in the City, it's a show, you know,
Mm.
Carrie would not be able to afford to live there and buy all those shoes. You know, like my friend told me once, he said he saw part of the show and he was like, I freaking hate it. I hate the show. Those girls are all selfish. Neither of them like each other. And Carrie would not be able to afford to live there. He was like, you know what New York is like? It's like a big downtown LA. It smells like pee. It's not the way they portray it. And I'm like, okay, dang, like calm down. But like, yeah, in real life, that's the only person that I think could afford to live there is probably Miranda or Samantha.
Yeah, totally. I don't even, oh, Charlotte does the whole gallery thing, right? Like,
She does the gallery, plus she's always like, you know, like her style of men, they're doing financially good. They
mm,
can afford, like she can afford to live in Park Avenue,
mhm.
wherever that's at. I don't even know if that's a part of New York, but yeah. But I just going back to the whole Aiden thing, I mean, I think that that also just shows that a lot of girls go after men who don't treat them right.
Yeah. It has to be like childhood trauma, right?
I think so.
It
Well, I
has to
mean,
be like, why would you seek, the drama if you didn't have the trauma?
what I don't like, okay, look, what I don't like about this show and Aiden is that a lot of guys will watch it and be like, see, you girls go after the bad ones. You know, sometimes you just need to like go for the really nice ones. We're out there. Yes, they are. But that doesn't mean you just go after, you just say yes just because he's nice. Like Aiden was like, because I've met guys like Aiden, but they're either missing something. Like Aiden had a successful business. He looked like he cared. Like there was just things about him that were just, yeah, I would choose him over Big. But
But
just because the guy's nice, you don't, you know, like I couldn't be with somebody who's passive. Passive men tend to be nice.
yeah. Well, I feel weird about this subject because I feel like my husband is an Aiden, you know,
Oh,
and if you really want to get married someday, you're gonna have like you're not gonna have everything that you want. You're gonna have
mhm.
to sacrifice at least one or a couple things that you are searching for in a mate. Like no one is going to be perfect.
Yeah,
And I just the woman in the show look for that a lot and it's just not going to be that way. Like they're never going to find somebody perfect.
mm.
You got to take a risk.
Okay. Okay, so then you married an Aiden.
I married an Aiden, even
So
though I'm attracted to Mr. Biggs.
okay.
Because you see, being with a Mr. Big brings you nothing but drama,
Yeah.
and my marriage might not be perfect and not it might my husband might not be the most romantic, you know, but I have no drama. I don't have to
Mm,
deal with him like bringing drama into our marriage because he's an Aiden.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah, Aiden didn't have any drama. She was
exactly.
the one who brought the drama.
Yeah, so I think in my marriage I'm Carrie and my husband is Aiden.
Really, Ivy?
I know there's a lot you don't know about me.
Apparently not. We got to do another like let's get to know each other episode and post it on our YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to tell you my real name too. Our friendship is getting so serious. Did you guys see her face? Did you guys see her face?
Is her name really not Ivy?
It really isn't. No, it's my stage name that I use for everything now. My real name is boring, you guys. Just
That is that okay, so that's like an so is Ivy like your alter ego?
I did, yeah. So I create because I was just so shy about starting a music account and putting my face in it, singing and all this stuff. So yeah, I created like this alter ego and I named myself Ivy Moss because I love nature and I love plants. And that's how it started.
That is so cool.
I just felt like
Why did
my real name, I just find it really boring. And I wanted to use a name that would go with my art, I guess, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. We need to do like another video. Well, we could practice first and see what we're comfortable sharing. But imagine we're actually like very different. I
I
don't know.
mean,
Do you?
I think we have a lot of things in common. And I think that what makes us different, I think is we do have different things,
Mhm.
but we're good at meshing them.
Yeah.
We're good, like it complements one another, I feel.
Mm,
Like different is not always bad.
no, no. Oh my God, I was gonna, so an alter ego. That's cool. Well, I mean, we don't have to talk too much on it, but I mean, I have a few alter egos, but see, mine's are like, I don't know. My alter ego is more like, I've never actually thought about changing my name though. That's actually really cool. Lana Del Rey has a few different, Lizzie Grant. She was Lizzie Grant in the beginning, and now she's,
Well, that's her
what?
real name, Elizabeth Grant.
Oh, it
That's her
is?
that's her real name.
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah. And then she
that.
she changed it.
Hmm, interesting. But I mean, okay, so then see, girls do go after Aidens. Like you are
Yeah.
married to an Aiden.
I'm married to an Aiden and I just like, sure, it's not like as exciting. And I don't mean that in a mean way. Like, I'm not saying that in a mean way to like, I think, my husband's a good husband, he's a good father, and that's what's important, and we have a great marriage. Um, but I grew up in a toxic home. My parents would
Mm,
fight all the time.
so do mine.
So when I saw that quote on Instagram, it just like it hit home. It's like, dang, that's so true. Like I
Mm,
had like a couple years ago, I was in a place where I wanted to get divorced because I felt like I needed more from him. Like I don't know how to say it, but I guess I felt like he wasn't passionate enough because I didn't have that drama. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm.
So when I saw that quote on Instagram, I was like, whoa, eye opening to me. Like, that could be me. Like, that is me. Like, I could probably be looking for drama because I'm so used to the drama that when there is no drama or toxicity, like, I feel bored because I'm so used to having it in my life.
But I feel like there is a big difference between drama and keeping each other on each other's toes, maybe, isn't there? Or am I
What do
just
you
wanting it to be worded differently?
what
Because
what do you mean by keep keeping each other on each other's toes or whatever? What do you mean by that?
I would have to say that like none of the guys are like discussion, some conflict, addressing the conflict in a very healthy manner. Like I remember dating this one guy where I was bothered by certain things and I would like just say whatever I wanted to say to him, and then he just really wouldn't respond, and then when he would respond he'd be like, I don't want to fight about this, and I'm like, You don't want to have any kind of discussion about any of it though. Like you seem like you're shutting down, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
work that way. I need dialogue, I need communication. I need to be able, like communication is a big deal to me, and I want to resolve issues a healthy way, not the way my parents did, because they just
Right.
argued all the time. And I felt like, so there were times where I'm just like, this is just like boring, because not boring, but like I want somebody who is as um interested in having like educational dialogue and whatnot. And also too, like I want to feel as though they have a lot of self-respect. That way, I can't just say whatever I want to say. They let me know, because I will say whatever I want to say, depending on the guy. That's what I mean on like each other's toes. I don't think that's drama. It's just what I need. And if a guy is just like way too
Well,
like
I don't think it's
quiet, then I'm just like,
I don't think it's like what you described. I wouldn't really consider that, keeping like staying on your toes. Like I feel like that would be a little bit more drama. Like you're
mm,
always, I guess, arguing and stuff, or just walking on eggshells because you don't know how somebody's going to react to something, you know?
mm-hmm. I
Like
think,
what you just described is to me normal to ask
okay,
for in a
okay,
relationship. Like that's normal
yeah.
to me. Like that's not a big ask.
I've been in, that makes me feel better then. I've been in situations where I felt like the guy was equivalent to Mr. Big, where I knew he didn't, a few times. And and I told you about one of them, like about one of them. Recalling you telling you about it. and it's just so interesting, because they have the characteristics of the type of man I want, but they just weren't interested enough in me and didn't want a relationship, or they were just like going about it the wrong way and like kind of jerky. Like they were just like being kind of like jerks. And I'm just like, you have this, but then your personality and how you can come off as a jerk and like a Mr. Big and just wanting to play a game here. Like my company isn't enough for you. You had to go and like you needed sex in order to say, I had a good night last night.
Oh,
Instead of
yeah.
saying like, I enjoyed your company. We'll always be friends no matter what, even if it doesn't work out between you and I. Like, you could, like, clearly, they, both of those guys, emphasized on like sex. And it sucked, because it's like, man, like, let's take our time here. Because I actually like you and I want to go slow. I don't want to just like do it right away. So, and then it makes me wonder, like, it makes me feel bad about myself that I actually am attracted to that. I'm not attracted to them being mean to me. They have the characteristics of a man that I want. There's just both of those guys, like one of them had an amazing body who worked out all the time. That was something that I like in guys. The other one was just, I don't know, like his height, very outspoken, just assertive, testosterone, masculinity. And then I'm like, man, like now I feel horrible that I even, like, that was what I was focusing on, instead of like, okay, they're not interested, Nicole. Just like get over it. I don't even know where I was going with that.
I gotta say that getting married young is looking pretty good right now.
My God.
I always told my husband, I was like, did we do the right thing? Did we get married too young? Should we have waited? Like, and sometimes I think about it and I'm like, nah, like we're okay. Like we would have been like really picky. We would have probably never gotten married if we would have waited. Like, I don't know.
That's
We would have overthought everything.
mm. Well, I mean,
And
I think as you get older, you do get picky.
well, because you know more about stuff. You have more
Yeah.
knowledge, you're more educated, and you have higher expectations. Like your
Right.
expectations get higher, I would think, you know.
Oh my gosh, mine sure are.
Because if my husband were to like die tomorrow and then like I'm single again, I feel like my expectations will be just like super high compared to when I was 21.
Mm.
Because I haven't dated since I was like 21,
Wow,
which
Ivy.
is like over 10 years.
I don't know. I just think that like I think girls I think girls going after guys like Mr. Big, I do know that men do the exact same thing though. I have guy friends. This one ex-coworker of mine told me about an ex-girlfriend, how she was a drunk and she was drama and she was this and she was that. He was like, I can't believe I dated her. Oh, wow. And I'm like, boy, it's because there's something going on with you too. Like you, it's a reflection of who you are, I think. Do you think so? Do you feel that like Mr. Big is a reflection of who she is?
Well, she is a mess.
I mean,
um
oh my
it's
God.
at this point I'm going to say so far, yeah, because she had the opportunity to have a good healthy relationship with someone and she messed it up,
Yeah, yeah.
you know. Mhm.
And that just makes me think, going back to what I just said about like those guys that I liked, but they weren't interested in me back. They had those quality, like they were confident. They were like, there was like things about them that I saw like, okay, finally, like somebody's able to match my level of confidence. Like,
Mhm.
but then oh my God, but I'm not a jerk. I'm not a jerk though. I feel like I'm having therapy right now.
So maybe it's not a reflection then.
Maybe it's not a reflection. I don't know. I just, I, yeah, I do think that like, um, it's common, but that's why I do feel like that show is everything. It shows you what you just like, it's everything that you just should not do.
You should not
Like,
do.
you should not do. You want to know what you shouldn't do in a relationship? Go watch Sex in the City.
Go watch Sex in the City.
And then
Hell
I feel
yeah.
bad for, I do actually feel really bad for all the guys who are just like Aiden. He was
Because
like, like he loved her. He was a romantic. And then he even wanted her to meet his parents. And she was just like, my
he was like, oh
God.
no, like that's a big deal. Like, how about next time? I'm
Yeah.
like, did you not make a big old scene because Big didn't want you to meet his mom?
Uh,
Like, ugh.
um, can I, can you give me like 10, 15 minutes?
Probably not. Just don't
Should
worry
we
about it.
pause? I could pause. We can
Okay, let
pause.
me pause. Yeah, that's okay. Let's just pause.
We will pause. All right, everybody, we're back. Just had to take a little break.
um, Final thoughts on just why some women pick the wrong men, or even why some men pick the wrong women. We got to bring a guy
True.
on here already
Yeah, yeah. If you're a
because,
guy and you want to come on here and talk about relationships and dating, send us a message.
right? Um, Insecurity.
Insecurities.
I mean, there's, and it sucks, but like that's true though. I've met a few. I worked at a nightclub in my 20s. So fun. Um, I remember this one girl. She was freaking gorgeous, like huge boobs, and her boyfriend looked like such a jerk, and he was like, a few people were just like, that guy just tears her down all the time. Like, what's with these pretty girls being insecure? And I'm like, not all of us pretty girls are insecure. Okay, I'm just kidding. But Yeah, I just think I feel like it's not as simple as we think. It's actually quite complicated, and there's just so many different factors. It could be
Yeah.
what we saw growing up. It could be the way our father was with our mother, or how our father wasn't with us. Um, we didn't see, because my mother had an amazing male figure, okay, in her life. And my father was a bad boy, and she was a good girl.
Interesting. That is so interesting.
Yeah. So that whole dynamic, like I remember hearing that growing up, like, oh my gosh, good girls go after bad boys. And I would always think like the freak, like, no, we don't. Like, I don't go after bad guys. I actually think I actually did go out. I liked really good churchy Christian guys. They're not the same anymore as adults, but like, and I would think to myself, like, oh my God, my parents, that's my parents, it's my mom and my dad. She was a good girl and he was a bad boy. So, I mean, he's not like that anymore. Like, my dad clearly cleaned up his act, but yeah, it does exist. It's a real thing. But I do think that like times are kind of changing with as much information and education we do just on like psychology and mental
Yeah.
health, like, of course, there's still going to be broken homes. There's still going to be, um, failed relationships or marriages, but I just think there's so many different factors, and it's not as simple. It's quite complex, just because as humans we can be.
Yeah, definitely. It's we're all brought up differently.
Yeah.
We all have different backgrounds. So when two people come together, like it's going to be hard at first because we're all different. We all have different
Hmm.
backgrounds. So who knows? Me personally, I think that it's probably our background and how we grew up, you know, what childhood trauma is in us, that makes
Yeah.
us pick certain things or certain bad guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. It's interesting. I actually was told once in my 20s, my late 20s, that like I go after bad boys, and I was just so like taken back by that statement that my girlfriend at the time told me. I was like, what? Like, what are you talking? I was slightly offended because I know that wasn't true. And I was like, what do you mean? You need to explain that. And she was like, the guy that you like right now, like, he doesn't have a home. He doesn't have a nice apartment. He doesn't dress well. He just looks kind of lazy. And I'm like, that's yours. Okay, so clearly we all have different definitions of what a bad boy is, because first of all,
Perhaps.
he doesn't need to own a home. He lives in a really cool high-rise like loft in downtown LA. He's a writer. Like, he was probably one of the best experiences I've ever had when it comes to dating, because he was so like artistic. He was inspired by me. He wrote about me a few times. And I was just like, so in her mind, and I remember there's this other guy that liked me. He had a nice condo. He dressed preppy. He had a nice BMW. He made decent money. And don't get me wrong, I like guys who make very decent money. But to her, she was like, that's who you need to be going out with. And it was a little annoying because she kept on me about it. She
But
kept
that
telling,
guy could have been a bad boy too.
exactly, he could have. And I remember like, and she kept telling me, she was like, he's somebody that you could settle down with. He's somebody who can provide for you. Just because I want somebody who can provide, just because I want somebody that I could settle down with, even though I hate that term, that doesn't mean I'm going to go after him. If anything, that guy wasn't good for me. He liked the fact that I was a little flirtatious and I would dress a little provocative and I was really artsy. But deep down, he could not be in a relationship with me because he would often ask me, why are you so into Halloween? And why would you dress like that to church? And don't you want kids? Nicole, kids are a blessing from God. You should want to have children. Or, you know what? There's something, looking at these pictures of you when you were in high school, you look like the girl next door. What happened to you? You changed. He would ask me questions like that. And I'm like, either you like me or you don't. Which is it?
Yeah.
And I felt like he was kind of criticizing me and slightly controlling. And that does not work with me. And I
Right.
went off on him a few times. So it's just like, yeah, in a way, I like he kind of, in my mind, that guy was a bad boy. Like, what are you talking about? Just because a guy can come off as safe doesn't necessarily mean he is. Like,
Right.
you know, so I don't know.
Well,
Dating topics.
this was a good chat. I really like this chat.
Me too. I've come to realize that Ivy is not your real name.
Woo! I'm gonna have to kill you if I tell you. No, I'll tell you. I'll tell you off air.
Okay.
Off air. I was thinking of doing like a giveaway and like whoever guessed my name right, like the first time, I give them like a gift card or something.
Yes.
So yeah, I might be doing that on my Instagram. So if you guys want to find out my real name, go to my Instagram and follow me there.
Right. Oh
All
my
right, beautiful
gosh.
people. We will link all the awesome links in the description below. Please like this video, subscribe to this channel, hit that
Just
like button. Help us out here.
exactly. Help us out. Let me show my money makers. Hold on. Help us. I'm just kidding.
Thanks for joining us on this episode 3 of Girl Chat with Nicole and Ivy.
Yay.